the next product, which is our fine cookware. I love Carico cookware. You have to understand, I've been selling cookware for 44 years, 45 years. Would you say I know a little about cookware? And for you women, I can cook really good. I give you some good recipes if you'd like. We'll talk about it during this presentation. One of my favorite recipes was called the hamburger surprise. Hamburger surprise. You get fresh ground beef, lean, and you make a hamburger patty, real thin and big. And then you make another hamburger patty, real thin and real big. Then you chop up your onions, your tomatoes, some mozzarella cheese, maybe if you want, put some roasted red peppers, whatever you would like to put in there. Then you put some barbecue sauce and you mix it and you put it in the middle. And then you take the other hamburger, put it on top, and squeeze the end, and you get this real nice thick hamburger with all the flavors inside. Put your black pepper, salt, whatever you want, so that when you're cooking it, it's marinating through the whole hamburger. And when you serve these, people go crazy. So I tell them how to make a hamburger surprise without any oil, without any fat. You heat your skillet, make the skillet, throw it on, brown it one side, flip it, cover the skillet. 8-9 minutes later, your hamburger's done, and the people will go gaga over it because the flavor from all of this inside, the peppers and the onion and the tomatoes and the mozzarella is all inside, just not laying on top at the end. And the people go, yeah. How many people want a hamburger? They don't sell those at McDonald's, by the way. They don't sell those at McDonald's. But let's talk about some of the cookware, because I think it's important you understand the different types of cookware. And I'd like you to come over after the meeting. All of you should take a little walk around and look at some of this, because I think it's important. This is a Al-Clad pan. Now, this is probably one of the best pans in a retail store. Okay, it's an expensive pan. This pan is $75. And it's a 1 quart. First of all, if you put it in your hand, put that in your hand. Do you feel it biting here? This, for some reason, I can't understand why you have sharp edges here, because when I put it in my hand, it hurts. Sharp. Okay? You got rivets inside. And if you can look at the way it's made, the water is going to come up here and it squirts all over your stove as you're cooking. Everything's shooting out because it comes up the side and right out the side here. So all of a sudden you get to your kitchens and you got a big mess around there because of the seal on there. Now you say, wow, but the core is nice. It's got aluminum core, not as thick as ours, but it's got aluminum core with stainless steel on both sides, a la Carico. But they don't have the cap and don't have the water seal. Let me show you the difference. We have one of these loose, the Carico one loose? No. Let me show you the difference. And when you look at a pan here, and you look at a Carico pan, and you say, wow, look at the difference in the metal we would save if we built it like theirs. All of this would be gone. Now you say, wow, that's a lot of metal. When you think about the size, it's the biggest part of the pan. So this piece of metal is probably 20% or 25%, 20% more metal, because the disc has to be bigger. Does that make sense to you? This would be that much smaller all the way around. You say, well, that's a lot of the metal of the pan. So you say, well, the metal alone is 25% more to have this water seal on. Plus you have 1, 2, 3, 4, at least 4 or 5 additional steps in the manufacturing process. This is one. Well, boom. This one takes multiple steps, and then we put a bottom on top of it, which is another 7 or 8 steps, polishing, cleaning. So you say, wow, this pan has got to be tremendously more expensive to manufacture. Does that make sense to you? because we have the silver cap on the bottom with the aluminum and silver and aluminum and then a surgical stainless steel. Now, obviously, putting a handle like this on and boop, boop with a rivet is a lot easier than doing electronic weld, so there's no screws or rivets on the inside of the pan. And then we put real handles on them that fit your hand like a glove. Okay? They fit your hand like a glove. This fits your hand like a glove. Now, how did we design these handles? Well, I looked at everybody else's handles in the market. I go, who the hell is designing these handles? Why? They don't fit your hand. So people get in, they sketch a handle, they build a handle, but nobody thinks about the hand. So I said, let's think about the hand. I took clay. And I had art engineers and designers playing with these different designs. They showed me 20 designs. I don't like them. Anyway, I took clay and I squeezed it in my hand like this. And I squeezed it like this. And I squeezed it again. And it fit like this. And I said, do you see this? This is called a handle. Take this clay and make it into a handle. And then you have a handle. Because it fits the hand. That's why they call it a handle. So we have a handle that fits the hand like a glove. Then I took the other one and I said, when you pick up one like this, your hand would be like this. And I kept grabbing and grabbing, and I said, do you see this? This is a handle. That's take this clay and make it look sexy. Ta-da! We gave it a little curves, gave this a little curves. We protect it so you don't hit your fingers here. And then we put the longest flame guards that you could possibly have on a pan. But because they're underneath, they don't look as long from the top. From the bottom, look how long they are. So you go, wow, that's to protect the handle. Then we'll use the triobular screw to make sure it doesn't keep coming loose and it stays tight. So the screw costs us a little bit more. The handle is made of the finest plastic. You can put it in an oven up to 400 degrees, 350, 400 degrees. It's not going to burn. It's going to last forever. And if you happen to break it, you can replace it because you can put a new handle on. So this is the finest cooking vessel in the world. There is no other cookware you're going to find anywhere in the world that is built to these specifications because they're Caraco specs. Why don't they build them? Because when people build products, they always think cost. That much more, too much metal, too many steps, too much. Customer's not going to appreciate it. If you walk into a store and all these pans are there, you're only going to get confused. Well, what's the difference? Oh, this one's easy to clean because it's got a coating on it. Oh, yeah, really? Yeah. It's $125. It's a Cappadona pan. It's coated. It comes off. It wears off. It scrapes off. In 3 to 4 or 5 years, you need to replace your pan. And this pan right here is $125. So really, yeah, but you're going to replace it 10 times. And when the black is gone, ask yourself a question. Where'd it go? You're eating it. You're eating it. In many countries, this is banned. They know for a fact if you heat this, if you have a canary in the room and you overheat Teflon or a coating, the canary would sick or possibly die. It's called polyumar fume fever. Canaries are very sensitive to gases. Are you aware of that? What's that?
That's why they used to have them along the mines.
Yeah, they'd have them in the mines. They'd set them in the mines so that as soon as the gas would go, you'd look. If the bird stops tweeting, get out of the mine because the bird's dead. As a matter of fact, I lost a canary because they were painting and doing some painting in my house and the canary died. What happened? He was on the floor going like this. And I said, oh my God, we should have never left him in while they were doing painting in the house. It killed the poor canary. So my wife took him, my girlfriend took him to the vet. They said, for $1,000 we can operate. I said, it's a canary. $1,000, I'll go get it. They'll laugh. The first canary was yellow. We spent $1,000 trying to save it. So this was the second canary, it was a brown canary. The first one was $1,000. I said, why didn't I just go to the store, buy another yellow canary, and sneak in and switch them? I'd have saved $950, you know. Anyway, amazing what you do for your pets, huh? But Teflon, how many people would want to really cook in this? Yeah. All right. Now, and you can't cook waterless. So here's your retail pans, none of which can you cook waterless, none of which can you do the cooking that you need to do with a Caraco pan. Let's talk about some of this is a Royal Prestige pans, one of the competitors, okay? Any style to that? We're going to do a heat test or a test in a minute if we can get some hot water. This is a Classica pan. They have handles that come on and off. You think it's a good idea? We don't know why it's a good idea. Let me tell you an interesting story. When I was developing our cookware, I wanted to have handles that came on and off. I worked on it, but I had a different reason for it. I wanted to do them in granite color, blue, white handles. I was going to give you the selection of 3 or 4 different color handles for your set. And then they'd clip on so I could have the set, and then we'd just let you pick your color handle. Well, in the process of working with it, I found that as we started doing colors, they wouldn't stand up. They would get brittle on the inside. They would break. So every time we went to test them, they failed the test. And if you put the color in it and the speckling in it, it started having odors. So they'd say, well, let's test this. I'd take a lighter. I'd go, shh, no good. I'd take it, bam, snap, no good. So after trying with a lot of engineers, I finally realized that the colors weren't going to work on a long-term basis. And then I also realized that when you put handles on like this, they wobble and they're ugly. So I said, I think I'm going to stay with black handles because it made more sense, silver and black. So I shelved the idea. My competitors knew what I was doing. They tried to copy it and ended up with the goofiest thing I've ever seen. Okay? So, but this set of cookware, I'll get to that in a minute and show you some of the competition and the pricing. And this, for those of you who know, is a Salad Master pan. Same concept, wires on the side, handle in there. But look at the way it's wobbling. So all your handles will be loose and wobbling. Okay? And he said, what do you think? I go, I don't think it's really a good idea. Plus, it's dangerous. If this wasn't put on properly and it were to slip off when people were using it. So I said, this set of cookware, Salad Master cookware, I'm going to give you a comparison here. A 10-piece set of Classica is $1,585. A 9-piece set of Salad Master is $2,495. A 10-piece set of, there was one here, Towncraft. I must put it someplace. There was another pan here. Towncraft, 10-piece set, $1,969. So when you look for good cookware, it is not cheap. It's expensive. And our prices, especially with the discounts we give, are extremely, extremely competitive. However, we have things that no one else has. Now, here's what makes our pan so special. In addition to the wonderful handles, flame guard, the construction of the pan, the cap bottom, we have the only temperature gauge in the world that reads the air inside the pan without touching any metal. It is the only pan in the world, and we have been granted, we finally, after all the work we did, are getting a utility patent. Means anything that is remotely like this cannot be used for a minimum of 17 years. We got it for Canada, Europe, Asia, and the United States. So this is something we have exclusive. Is that exciting?
Yeah,
calls you when it needs you, close it, tells you exactly what to do. This temperature gauge works. Anyone using this, Flippa, your wife uses it with the temperature gauge?
Absolutely.
She love it? You using it?
Yes, I do.
Does it work?
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Accurate.
Yes, yes.
If it gets to the red, you're burning. Simple, you're burning, you get to the red. So before, you'd ever have to look over, touch the pan, see if it's hot. How do you know if you're going to burn? So if you're going to cook without water and you're going to cook nutritionally, if you're going to boil all your food to death, you can use a coffee can. Then it don't make any difference what you're putting it in. Because all you're doing is boiling it and killing it. Do you want to boil your foods? If you want to destroy them, boil them. If you want to enjoy them and give nutritive value, and it's interesting because when you look at why do you want, everywhere you look today, everywhere you look, Newsweek, cancer and diet, eating to beat the odds, what you need to. 1/3 of all cancers can be prevented by changes in diets and lifestyle. Okay, heart disease and stroke are the first and third leading cause of death in the United States. About 950,000 Americans die, which amount to 1 death in every 3 seconds. You can reduce your risk of heart disease and stroke by adopting a healthier, more nutritional diet. And here's what we've done. We peel, boil, and drain away all the vitamins and minerals out of the food. When I was younger, my mother used to make us soup when we got sick. She would boil the vegetables, boil the chicken, and then we'd drink the broth to get strong, right? That's because that's where the vitamins and minerals were. Once you cook without water, you will never boil your food again. Never. So improper preparation can destroy. If you want to stay healthy, you have to exercise. We all agree? Drink 8 to 10 glasses of pure water a day. Make the proper food selections. Less fats, more greens, more chlorophyll, more fish. Reduce fat intake. Increase consumption of whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. Whole grains. Remember when we were young, I used to say, Wonder Bread builds strong bodies, 8 ways or something. It was an advertisement. I'd like to know what 8 ways, because it was white bread. If you take white bread, there's one good use for it. When we were kids, we used to make it. You'd be able to form stuff with them, and you could use it for paper mache. Remember that? Yeah, you could use it for. Or if your wallpaper is coming off the wall, you take the white bread, make it wet, and then rub it behind it and put it back. It'll stick the wallpaper up for you. It's like glue. Oh, yeah. Factual. That gooky stuff there, you put it up on the wall, push the wallpaper back, you're good. This is glue. So if you run out of glue, use white bread. Now, if you make it into a little ball, wet it and make it into a ball, the next day, what do you have? A rock. It turns into like a rock. It gums up your system. So you need grains. You need to eat more grains. Grain are the staff of life. Unfortunately, we don't eat enough grains. Grains, vegetables, and other nutritional things. But if you cook without water, for instance, you make corn on the cob in our pan. How do you make corn on the cob in this pan? Very simple. You take your vegetables, your corn, you cut the ends off of them a little bit. I peel them down till you have the real fine little husks on them. I wet them. Put them in the pan. Stack them in your pan. Turn it on a medium heat. If you want to be bad, you can put some, I almost think it's butter on the lid. Yeah, you can do that. A little seasoning on it. Close it and let it baste in the butter. When you get through, you take it out and you will taste the best corn you've ever eaten in your life. If you boil your corn in water, when you're pouring the water down the drain, you can smell the sugar. If you boil boil a pan of carrots, drain the water off, put it on a skillet, drain the water into a skillet, turn the flame on, and let the water all evaporate, and you'll have syrup on the bottom of your skillet. It'll turn black and you'll have syrup. Okay? That's the carotene and the sugar from the carrot. So the children will eat the raw carrot. They just don't want to eat the cooked carrot because you've taken all the flavor out of it. So your foods look better, they taste better, and they're much better for you. Once you have Caraco cookware, it'll last you the rest of your life. It'll pay for itself in 3 to 4 years in savings of heat, conductivity, vegetables that you're not peeling half the vegetables, you scrub them clean, and the energy you save over the years, it will pay for itself. Now, what makes our cookware work so well? Joey, is this water in here? Hot water, okay. Let's take one of these pans here. Here's what we're going to do. I'm going to pour a little hot water in this one. Yeah, just moving back a little. I'm going to pour some hot water in this one. I'll pour some hot water in this one. And then we're going to do something here. I want you to touch the edges of the lid. The edge. Now the edge there. Is that one warm yet?
No. It's cold.
No? All right, give it a second. And we're going to see something here. Okay. Now try it again. Cold, warm. Yeah. Cold, warm. Cold, warm. Do you see the difference? Just by putting a little water in the pan. You want to try it? Try it. Cold. Do you see a difference? Yeah? Try it, Felipe. Oi! Because it conducts the heat up the side. So when you cook in waterless cookware, it cooks from the bottom up, the sides in, and the top down. Now, the way it works is when you put your pan on a medium heat, the air inside starts to expand. Does that make sense to you? And then what happens is the moisture gets up onto the lip here. Okay? Into the water seal. You can tell the difference just from now. Now, I want you to lift the lid very lightly. Did you feel a suction when you went to lift it? I'll put it back down here. Let's see if we can get it spin again. Lightly. You see that? I did this in home. I just put a drop of water, spin my lid with the valve closed, and say, feel the difference. Did you feel it? You have to break the seal. It's like glued. Okay? Now you can't do that on any of these other pans that they have in retail. There's no seal. Did you feel that? You have to break it. Okay? So that's the water seal we talk about. Okay? And it seals the moisture in and keeps the vitamins and minerals in. Now here's what you've learned in school. You cannot burn in a vacuum. Is that correct? If there's no oxygen, my boat has a system. If the fire system goes off, all the vents close automatically to keep the oxygen out of the engine room, which means the fire will go out. So the engine room automatically seals from the heat. And you don't go in the engine room because the fire is going to go out, because it's going to put the sprinkler is going to go on, but it's also going to starve it of oxygen, which means the fire will go out. So what ends up happening, as long as you don't break this seal and you keep the temperature in the middle, you'll never burn your food because it won't dry out. It'll keep the moisture in the food. Food will look better, it's going to taste better, and you're cooking in its own natural juices. Your vegetables will be amazing. Now, let me ask you a question. When you look at Caraco Cookware, and you look at the manufacturing of that product, and you look at the heat across the bottom, and you look at the sides and the water seal, can you see why it costs more to manufacture than this or this? You got to come up and take a look at it. We have a whole board here of cookware, competitive cookware. You can look at it and you say, this is obvious. You don't have to explain anymore. You're going to conduct the heat across the bottom. You're going to get good bottom heat. You're going to get good side heat. You got the water seal. You got the temperature gauge, the phenolic handles, the tri-ober screw. There is no pan in the world, and a lifetime guarantee, and that makes Caraco stand alone. The finest pan available anywhere in the world.